Wow, I'm not ready.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
Dedicated gardeners. What is it, like 25 out this morning? That's pretty hardcore, you all. Snow on the ground. I don't like snow. It looks like it pops right back up and gets nice next week. So, yeah. For us, I tell the crew we're starting to hire, bring in trucks. We're staffing back up. All the seasonal folks are coming back. We have this entire team of people that don't want to work when it's cold, but they love coming in and working during the spring. It's like for gardeners, it's like Christmas. Every time a truck rolls up, it's like, oh my God, that's so cool. We get to see the new colors and stuff. So they're coming back. It's warm. Uh-huh. All right. So we are live. Let's see what time it is, folks. Hold on. Let's check. This is analog. I got 1 minute. Let's see what the digital says. Oh, 9:32. Analog is off by 3 minutes. Wow. Let's get started. So, welcome to Waters Garden Center. Glad you're here. No black ice. Yesterday was a little treacherous coming to work, so a little off. It was definitely black ice. So, and this is what it'll do this probably one more time. It'll fool you if you're new to the area. This is spring. It's beautiful, and then there's a storm, and it melts off in like a day, and it's beautiful. We don't slowly go up in weather temperature like the Midwest does. We violently get warmer is how we do it. So just expect that. So now our last frost date. You all, how many are new to the area? This is your first year season growing here. So a third of the class, quarter of the class. Good. So our last frost is the first week in May. I think the official 100 years of data that we've been tracking, May 8 is the exact date. Locals use Mother's Day as kind of a holiday to remember because they can't remember the 8th. We can remember Mother's Day, which is on the 12th. So, but it's sort of in there. It feels like this year is going to be a little earlier, like the end of April. So we'll see. Just be aware that it's going to be like this, cold, warm, until through April, basically. So you're planting things now that can take that cold, hot, warm, cold, the violent swings in temperature. And so make sure you're getting the right plants. You'll be tempted. So you'll see at Costco or at the big box, big orange and blue box, they're going to have stuff in early. And you'll think it's time to go. And you'll plant it, 2 weeks later it dies. And it's not your fault. It's their fault because they brought it in because their desert buyer just said, ship 50 of those, all my stores. I don't care if it's high country, low country, ship them. And so just know, do a little research and know what you're putting in. Are you wasting all that time? I know it's warranted, but you're digging that hole is not warranted. All that labor, taking it back to get your credit isn't warranted. You want to put the energy into a plant that actually grows and thrives. Today, we're talking about evergreens. And I've skewed it towards native, drought hardy, low maintenance, shade, because you got to have, some of us have shade stuff. I got a few vines that are evergreens, not a lot of them. Most of them are deciduous. That is, they lose their leaves in the winter. But there are a couple evergreens that are classic up here. Then I've got some shrubs and some perennials. We'll do that all in about 50 minutes, and I'll save some time for Q&A at the end. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Ken. I'm your friend. We're just gardeners talking over the back fence. This is stuff I've gardened with most of these plants, actually in the ground or farmed with them. I know how they perform. And the curse of this business, no matter where you go to dinner, you're going to see neighbors, going out watch kids play soccer, you're going to church, you're going through neighborhoods, you're going, oh, there's a plant. Oh, there's a plant. Oh, look how it's growing. Oh my gosh, look at that. We're always looking at how plants are growing. So we're sharing some of that with you because you're going to ask us, going, what grows here? Well, I saw that same thing growing over here in this neighborhood. That's your neighborhood. I think this is the one. So we're always trying to give good advice, not just sell you a plant. We're trying to sell you a garden experience. So these are the evergreens. Now, 20% of your landscape should be dedicated to evergreens. Otherwise, you'll look out in the yard right now and it looks bare. There's like nothing but rock lawn and some sticks. That is not very pretty. So we have a definite 4-season climate. And so you want to dedicate some of those plants to the evergreens, which they're kind of the anchors, the bones of the landscape. You always start as a designer with the evergreens. Then you go to shade trees. Then you go to flowers and all the architecture, the fountains, all that kind of stuff. Privacy is a big thing. So we'll try to get, oh my gosh, there's a neighbor on a deck looking down at you in your hot tub. That's no good. We need a plant there. That's an obvious one. So we'll try to, that's how a designer kind of what's going on in the noggin up there. Let's start with down here, the drought hardy, low maintenance, like plant them and then try not to water them. That's the plants. That's what we're talking about. Start with that, and then we'll go down to the shade lovers, and we can grow more of them than you think. Those Midwest, like rhododendrons, azaleas, camellias, they grow here too. They'll take it. Just you'll need to put them on a drip system to get them to go through that. June is the hottest month. June is your hardest month to grow things here, bar none. You got brand new growth coming up. It's prevailing southwest wind, very dry. It's like 10% humidity. And so that's just really hard on new plant growth. And so you just got to keep them alive because the monsoons are coming in July. The humidity goes up, the cloud cover shades things, and plants just kind of go, oh, I lived. And they just, it's almost like a second growing season. They flush all new growth starting July, August, September. It's kind of our best month for really aggressive growth. The benefit of planting now is that you get them in the ground. We're seeing some root growth in the buckets. So they're growing. You're seeing the buds swell. So you're seeing the new leaf buds or flower buds, they are swelling up pretty strong. And starting next month, which is like 1 week away, you'll see spring hit. The daffodils will start to bloom. They're one of the first ones. Your Lenten rose, they're starting to bloom already. So you'll start to see the leading edge of spring start to come on. Then it just gets better. Crescendos probably about May, and then it just keeps going from there. That's our season. So we have 4 seasons. Really, we have 6. Let me explain them to you. We're in the evergreen season right now, and we're moving into the early spring season. These are plants that love bright days. They bloom typically, have lots of new growth, but they can take that freeze. They're plants that have enough antifreeze in them that they don't get damaged with that cold weather that just hit us. Again, that's going to keep happening for the next month and a half. You're going to see this cold can happen at any time. We will have another snow. We need another snow. We need to hydrate the soil for us. So we've got winter is evergreen. Early spring goes through April. The spring season is the peak of the season. That's when everyone's in the garden center. That's when all the tomatoes, all the summer flowers go in. That's your peak. The garden center is packed with customers, jam-packed with plants. It's fun. I define June as its own month. June is the best month. It's the one you'll see the most perennials at the garden center. So perennials are those flowers that come back year after year. So they're all, I have perennials now, but some of them are kind of ugly. They're twigs in a bucket. You know, peonies, you can just barely see them coming up. You're buying them by the tag. You're looking at the color by the tag. Well, in June, they're full grown and they're probably in bloom. So then you've got July, August, summer. That's when your crepe myrtles, your rose of Sharons, lots of roses, your smoke bush, all those summer blooming plants are in then. Fall, of course, maples and aspens and mums, and then you're back to winter. Those are the 6. So early winter, early spring, spring, perennial month, which is June, summer, and then fall. Those are your seasons. Right now we're going over, this is kind of a transition. I tried to blend it towards things that bloom. Evergreens with that do both, evergreen and they give you flowers. So let's start down here. I'll just start with this, the #1 selling shade blocking or screening plant. If you want a fast growing native, you want it to get up 25 feet tall and 12 feet wide, and you don't want to see your neighbors ever. The headlights are coming right into your living room. The wind is bringing the dust in. This is your boy. This one is deceiving. They don't get wide until they're in the ground. No matter what we do, they don't put that swooping branch yet. They just stay twiggy and upright. But you put them in the ground next year, they start to put on these great big swooping branches where literally it's from me to you, thick. So they fool you. This is an Arizona cypress, truly a native. They grow wild down towards Baghdad, up in kind of that 4,000 to 5,000 foot level. They just grow wild. And so the difference, it looks like a juniper. The only way I can really tell is a juniper will put a berry on, and a Arizona cypress puts like a golf ball size cone, pine cone on. So the berry, it looks like a berry, but it's actually a pine cone, is bigger. So junipers can also go in as well. So they're good screeners. I use junipers myself because I had too much blue already. I don't need more. This is like classic Arizona color. Sometimes you get too much of this. You want some green. So I went with Spartan junipers, which is basically this plant green. So a juniper is also just kind of a trivia. If you like plant trivia, there's males and females with junipers, boys and girls. The boys are the problem. They're the ones, you know who you are. They're the ones that put all the pollen out. They literally will explode. Literally, they look like they're on fire. They will literally explode. This gigantic mound of pollen goes out. He's going to pollinate the entire hillside. And every gal's happy about it. Gals do not have pollen. They're the ones that have the berries. So if you look in the forest, you see, oh, it's got berries on it. That's a female juniper. And she does not cause the allergy issues that the boys do. Boys, right now, I've got a big old male in my backyard. He's stunning, striking, gorgeous. I trimmed him up, got down lighting, up lighting. It's a piece of art. But he is yellow right now. There's more yellow than there's green because he is loaded with pollen. I'm hoping this cold will take some of that out of there. Sometimes you get a cold snap and it will kind of eliminate some of the pollen. Otherwise, I do have juniper allergies. So this is a native that grows with Arizona cypress. You will see this growing wild out in the forest, Bradshaw's, Mingus. This is called Oregon grape holly or Mahonia. It's literally blooming now all around town. You'll see this is one of the first ones to bloom. It's evergreen like this, and it will bloom in spring like this. And then these flowers will turn into clusters of berries or grapes. That's the name Oregon grape holly. They do make jams and jellies out of it. Quite honestly, I don't think they taste very good. They're edible because you see your birds are all over them. Birds love the berries on this. It's just pretty. The new growth comes out with this bright red. Just has a lot going on for it. They come in 3 sizes. Comes in this size, and the native one gets a knee high. So the wild one is kind of they call it creeping Mahonia. The compact gets about hip high. It's one I kind of like. And then the standard one gets bigger. So we'll use that as a hedgerow or property line, barrier kind of thing. That's what we use it for. Full sun, shade, javelina, deer. Nothing eats this. It's bulletproof, literally bulletproof. Yeah.
Can you keep the standard one from
from spreading so much?
You cannot keep the standard one from spreading too much unless you take a shovel to it and just go, no, no, you're not coming up here. Get out of there. They have what they do is they have they have runners that come up and they want to pop up everywhere. And when they pop up where you want them, it's like bonus. They pop up where you don't want, that's called a weed. And so it can do that sometimes. So there might be a little maintenance to keep them going, but super tough plant. No maintenance with these three I'll put out there. Yuccas this is #1 selling native plant we have at the garden center. It's called red yucca. Gets about kind of knee high, but then the flowers hover about chest high. You have these beautiful red flowers. It starts blooming kind of spring season, probably about May, and it keeps blooming through summer. So it's a great little plant. Once it gets established, you could probably just ignore it. The only maintenance you have on this is right now you may have some leftover flowers from last year. Just take that back, and as far back as you can, cut it back, and that's all you do to it. You leave the foliage intact. If you fertilize this with some all-purpose plant food, that's a granular food we put together. I'll cover that later. It'll just increases the number of flower stalks you have coming up, how many flowers you have on that flower stalk. That's red yucca. It also comes in yellow. Comes in a dwarf variety. So the standard one gets this tall. The tiny one gets smaller. So if you've got a Mediterranean courtyard, you want a bowl with a yucca in it, go with the miniatures. This would be too big for that. So we've got different places for it. This is related to it. These are direct cousins. This is like the Greek, and this is the Irish. I don't know. This is like blonde or brunette. I don't know. It's the same plant. Yuccas. They're both yuccas. Has a bigger leaf to it, has a gold. We've variegated the foliage, has bright spots to it, especially if you have real dark rock that you're planting in. Sometimes the blues disappear in that darker rock. This tends to pop. The flower on this will come up and it's white, big clusters of white flowers. So more prominent flowers than this guy does. So quite striking. Same maintenance. When you get done, just cut it back as far as you can, boom, and then just keep this like it is. So I've got one of these going down to my backyard. I have in a beautiful mustard colored pot. You're going through the fence. I bet you've got an accent. So you come down and go, oh, obviously this is where you enter the party. So this is kind of one that's been in there for probably 15 years. Eventually it's going to overgrow its space, but it is magnificent. It's got to be this big around. It's just glorious. In a pot, it doesn't quite bloom as well as in the ground, I notice. But I'm not planting that for the flower, I'm planting that for this gorgeous foliage. Accent against a dark cedar fence. It's beautiful. So, okay, yuccas. Those are yuccas. Oh, this is color guard yucca. Color guard. You can come take photos of the tags when you get all done. And they're on our website. If you want to see more detail, just go yucca. All of them will show up. These are two. This is another native you find. This one's a pokey one. I've got to be careful with him. Oh, this one too. Broom. So Spanish broom gets all the fame. It's a gigantic broom. Looks just like this. Has the dark evergreen kind of foliage. Does get leaves. You don't hardly see them. But it's famous for very fragrant yellow flowers. So you see a plant like this gets head high, covered in yellow flowers, very fragrant. You'll smell it before you see it. It's quite striking. The negative with Spanish broom, it tends to be high maintenance, like suckers everywhere, and it's short-lived. You're going to get maybe 7-8 years out of it, and then the center dies. It's just a problem. This is Scotch broom, so Spanish Scotch broom. This does not get as big. It gets about this tall. Nice, tight, full color. Comes in different colors too. Yellow, red, pink, quite striking. Same fragrance, super long-lived. So in my yard, I didn't plant the Spanish. I wanted this one. Just for that, I want less maintenance. I don't want to be out there gardening all the time. I want it to be beautiful all the time with a little bit of care. That's what I want. In the backyard, the front yard, of my house is very high maintenance. Containers, I want to go out in the morning, sip my coffee, deadhead flowers, and watch hummingbirds. That's a small space. The backyard is the back acreage. That one's got to be, it's got to look good with once a year maintenance, basically pruning is what I'm doing right now. This guy's in the backyard. I put it on the irrigation system for 1 year, and then I cut it off. Usually I'll bend back that drip emitter, just tape it off because I think, oh, if it needs me, I could turn it back on. I never do, because eventually it gets big enough I forget where the emitter was. And so that's how tough these native low maintenance plants are. So it's a Spanish broom. There's a couple, two, three colors out there. Spanish broom. This one you will grow wild. You'll see this out there. This is cotoneaster. The way you spell it is cotoneaster, or cotoneaster is how you say it. You'll literally see a bush when you're walking out in the forest. It's about this big. It's gray colored. It can have white flowers in the spring. It'll have red berries summer through fall. This is gray leaf cotoneaster, truly a native. It looks decorative, but it's tough as nails. So, and animals don't eat this. So the reason it's so frugal on water is it's got a thick leathery leaf, which preserves water. It's a waxy leaf. On the back side of the leaf, you'll see it's got a texture to it. So it's got protection, it's got insulation on the back. So it only perspires on the top of the waxy covered leaves. It's super efficient on water use. This one you'll probably never have to prune. If you do prune it, it'll have a wild hair. You just kind of go, flip, and that's all I got to do. It's not trimming, not hedging. You're going to let this thing go wild. Let it go up to about hip high or so. But you have this beautiful evergreen or ever blue, whatever color that is. That's what you get year round. It's quite striking. You get spring blooms, summer, fall berries, evergreen. It's got all the seasons. It's kind of cotoneaster. It's got everything. Now for screening, we've got one that's not a native. It's called red clusterberry cotoneaster. That boy is a monster. 10 by 10 by 10. Dogs, small children, been lost in red clusterberry cotoneaster. It's a big boy. We use it for screening, but they are directly related. It's got the same waxy leaf, very efficient, but mostly it's too big for a lot of the smaller lots, especially. I would never put it right next to my house. I would put it out there against the fence line or surrounding the hot tub or screening. I'd use it for a screen is what I would do. Okay, we did this one already. This one I brought because it's like, this is the one that I would buy. This is desert spoon. Usually they come singles, nice big cluster. When I planted one in my yard, mine are about this big. They're pretty, they're about literally this big. Been in for probably 10 years. I don't water it. It's gone its own. The reason I like this one, it's a double. The reason I planted mine in the yard was a double. They look really striking. You have mirrored two plants coming up in the same kind of planting hole. It's quite beautiful from a design perspective, especially if you've got a boulder right behind it. It's quite striking. So this one does get a white flower. It hovers maybe about up here. Pretty big flower. And again, when you get done, the only maintenance is you go back as far as you can, you clip it back, and that's all you do with it. So this one is super dry hardy, full sun. All these are full sun, and then take a blow dryer. It begs for asphalt. I mean, retaining block walls that radiate heat, just heat. These guys don't mind the heat. They're used to this altitude. So spoons, yuccas, Spanish brooms, these are all really strong players, very low maintenance. Okay, I think that's, I got to go to Manzanita, of course. Probably the #1 seller. Yuccas are #1. Manzanita is #2. And the only reason Manzanita is #2 is I run out of inventory. Yuccas are a dime a dozen. You have more of them. They're easier to find. Yuccas are really difficult to grow. There's only a couple friends that I know that actually can grow this where it's successful. So I brought a lesson for you because there's different types of Manzanita. And I wanted to explain that to you. So I've got 4, probably 5 varieties of Manzanita in right now. Now, these are the ones you see growing green. They're out in the forest right now. They're starting to bloom. You're seeing this bell-shaped flower to it. Fantastic pollinator. The hummingbirds use that as a source as they migrate back and forth. It's a great plant. Evergreen, red bark. It's got all the things you want. If you kill any one of these, it's going to be you like to water, or you've got really heavy clay soil where it just doesn't perk. It wants drainage. It wants the feet to be dry. And so if you lose it, that's how it's going to go down. So I am not able to plant this in my backyard. I'm overlooking the dells. It's north slope, heavy, heavy clay. It's the hardest gardening I've ever done. I've farmed all over the county. I cannot grow this. And I'm a gardener. You don't tell me what I can or cannot grow. It tells me I cannot grow this back there because the clay soil it's right. And I think it's the winter that gets it. It's that I've still got snow on the ground. It just stays too wet, too long, too gooey. And that's what takes it out. In the front yard, I'm sure it would do fine. But I don't want it in the front yard. I want it in the backyard. So I went with junipers instead, Gold Coast. I just went with junipers. The difference between all of them. So Howard and McMinn, the tall ones over there on the table, those are the standard ones you see growing around out everywhere. That's the standard. So McMinn is the big one. It gets too big for a lot of gardens, and it tends to be shorter lived. So manzanita are notorious for dying out in the middle, and once they start fading, there's no recovery. You trim them back, you try to fertilize them. They'll send off pups or runners trying to keep themselves going, but they tend to they die out and they have this rotation to them. The other varieties don't do that. They're longer lived plants, and they're a step down. So Chieftain, so McMinn's going to get head high. Chieftain's going to get about this high. Then you've got Panchito. You basically have different heights, and you'll see they grow. They just grow more ground covering, more. This is going to get about knee high, just spread out. Same foliage, same flower, same red bark, same drought hardy, same no real maintenance to them, no animals eat them, but it's the height. We're dwarfing them by rootstock, basically, kind of like fruit trees. So by the height that you want is the main way to shop for manzanita. Okay, this will grow great in a container, right out there in the yard. The main thing is it just needs at least 6 hours of sun or more. 24 hours. You'd love that. These guys like the sun. They like the wind. Those ridge lines you guys have with the great vistas and no soil, these would probably do pretty good up there. And that's where you see them growing wild. So manzanita. All right. How are we doing on time? Right on track. And all your manzanitas are going to be right over here. And the reason they're all right inside here is because that's the empty space we had, and we just checked. They just came off the truck. We just put them there for now. We'll put them out there when the storm is gone. Then we'll start putting them out in the cold, out in the snowy areas. Let's cover a few perennials. I don't want to go that direct. Let's go shade lovers. We went from low maintenance, bright sun. Let's go to shade. Some of you have the pine covers. All of us have a north side of a house. So these are the evergreens that would thrive in those areas. It's actually more difficult to grow plants in the shade than it is in the sun. If you were to plant these plants out in the shade, they would get real long and leggy. They would bloom, but they'd flop over because they're trying to get out to the sun. Shade lovers don't do that. So let's start with this one. It's probably the most famous in the country. Let's see, I've got that one. This one here, which is related. So these two, rhododendrons and azaleas, they do surprisingly well here in the shade. So if you're coming from the East Coast or the Midwest, there you grow them right out there in full sun, not here. At this elevation, the sun is brighter, it's more intense, and the dryness tends to get to them. But in the shade, they do fantastic. So rhodies, when they start blooming, they're like candy. Every cart will have one until they're all gone because they're so intensely colored. So brightest reds, brightest pinks, brightest whites. They're just beautiful purples. So rhododendrons are one of the brightest flowers for a shaded area. And then this is what they look like year round. Green, 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 green. They just tend to get big. So rhodies tend to get bigger than azaleas. Azaleas tend to get just think rhodies this big, azaleas kind of this big. They both have bright flowers. Rhodies have bigger flowers, probably the size of my hand. Azaleas have probably smaller, like, I don't know, pickleball size flowers. So that's the difference. But shade is the key. I know the tag will say grows in full sun. Don't believe it. It grows in shade. So some of these plants, you really want to focus. So when you're buying plants, we're trying to take the sign that's out in front of it. We're not mimicking whatever's on the tag. We're saying this is how it grows here. So look at that. We're trying to help guide you so you make less mistakes. Our website, these plants are on our website. You could shop them right there. We'll run and go get them and pick them up for you. Come pick them up later. This website is, this is how it grows here. We're not taking national stuff. We're taking, this is how we see them grow at this Central Highlands, Quad Cities area, okay? I know some of you are tuned in from Sedona. Come visit us. That includes you all. Camp Verde, Cottonwood, we're all the same. We get cold right now. Okay. Then this guy is pretty flexible. These two are kind of related. We use these two the same. Hollies grow really well here. So, but again, you've grown them out in full sun. They don't do well in the full sun. It's June is what gets them. They'll live. It will do what the tag says. They will live in full sun, but you will hate them because they're ugly. They'll get burned leaves. They'll struggle. They'll like drop leaves on you. But if you give them some shade, they thrive, absolutely thrive for years and years. They'll take a lot of morning sun, a lot of afternoon sun. Everyone thinks the West is so hot. Yeah, but it didn't start until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it's quickly down. So it's intense, but it's short-lived. And so plants can take them, they can protect themselves. But when it starts from day one, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, bright, and then till 6 o'clock at night, that's asking a lot, even of a holly that you've grown in Virginia out in full sun your entire life. Here it will probably struggle. This is a goshiki holly. I bring this one for you because it's more unusual. And for a shaded plant, I really like the lighter colors, because some of these dark colors, you get something like this, it just blends right into the darkness until it flowers. And you go, whoa, this doesn't really flower. It probably does get a flower. You're planting it for this striking like foliage. They call it goshiki, which is Japanese for 5-colored holly. So it actually, as it pushes new growth, it gets this pink color, red colors, gets a cream color to it. It gets the green, obviously, the golds colors. It's got 5, it's always got different things going on depending on the growth cycle. I've grown this out in full sun. I find it does better in more shaded, kind of protected. I've grown it in a container out in the ground, but I find its best spot is at east, north to west sides, not direct sun. So goshiki holly. It's not a fast grower, not aggressive. I tend to keep it trimmed at like that hip high, maybe a little lower level to it. It's just so bright though. And the reason it does so well, the leaf is real waxy. So it's protecting itself from this dry climate just by coating its foliage with wax. This is Abelia. Now, Abelia is what we call a semi-evergreen. So this year, definitely evergreen. If we get down to single digits for a week or two, it will start to lose some of its foliage. But generally, it's always got foliage on it. Gets up about this big, kind of just think chest high and round, easy to trim and maintain. Its claim to fame, real pretty pink flower, just coats pink flowers from spring through fall. It's amazing. Hummingbirds like it. Pretty easy care to it, as long as you put it in more of that protected, shaded areas. So in shade, I mean 6 hours or less of sun is my definition of shade. So it can take some sun, just not the peak, not that 10 to 2, like middle of the day in June. That's the hottest part. But every other part of the day, fine. Okay. Abelia is a great little plant. All right, let's go to one other. This one for shade, and then I think I've got them all covered. So this is yew, Y-E-W, yew. Its botanical name is yew. Common name is yew. It only has one name, yew. So it does come in different heights. So you've got Hicks yew, which gets very tall and kind of pencil shaped. And you've got spreading yews, more of a shrub. They're all the same. Just their growth habit will change. So for me, I've got a 2.5-story stucco wall that's from the basement up to the top of the garage, not one window, nothing of interest, but stucco. Kind of, wow, that's real ugly. What do I do here? So I put a couple of these on either side of Hicks yews. So the small, narrow but tall on either side. Now it's 2.5 stories high. Probably gonna have to figure out how to get a 2.5-story ladder up there because it's starting to grow into the eave. When it does, I'll just whack it. I'll just give it a topping. Just every year, I'll just top it off. I'll probably whack it off to wherever the ladder goes. I go, okay, that's as tall. That's where it's going to go. And I'll just cut it off every year there for my health and safety, not for the plants. So I guess that tall one right there, you'll have to come in now. See, some things you can't see unless you're here. We know you're tuned in, sipping coffee in your jammies. But if you're here, you can see that really tall yew growing up there. That's overhead height. That's probably a 10-year-old yew. So it's just matured. So, but that's how they're going to grow. That's not trimmed to be that way. It just grows naturally up that way. Okay. But this is also a conifer, or it's related to pine trees. So our ponderosa pine, it's a conifer like that. So it doesn't put on that's actually a needle, not a leaf, which why it is so hardy. It's a really tough little plant. Okay. The flowers will turn into red berries, which are quite striking. And animals don't eat it. So it just does, you don't get deer grazing by going, because their mouth's going to go numb. If they start eating on that, they're going to go, that was very good. What's going on? Okay, that's the shade, guys. Let's do the vines. So I brought 3. And there's one other that I wish I had, but it's not here yet. Let's start with this one. You all knew this one as a kid. You guys used to, whoops, what do I got there? Used to grab the berries, we chuck them at each other. This is pyracantha. Try to reintroduce this one. It's so tough for here. Pyracantha is just fantastic. It's got a bad name because its common name is called firethorn. You never want to touch this unless you've got thick leather gloves on, because it does come with little thorns on it, but it's super tough. I mean, anything that has thorns is going to like Arizona. And so this one's no exception. It's called Victoria pyracantha. It's a red berry. The orange berry is just as robust, but this one will easily go 10 feet. It'll go as wide as you want. You trim this one a lot to shape it the way you want it. So this one's so tough, I often spec it into commercial settings. So if you got a rental property where the tenants just keep killing everything, or commercial where the cars keep dumping everything, people are dumping their sodas, whatever on it, this one will take that. You can't kill this. Once it gets rooted, it's really tough. And it's pretty. This is one that the birds in winter, the berries will actually ferment, and they're having a party out there. They're like, oh my God, oh, come on, bring the chips, we're out of chips, more salsa. And they're just going to town at it. These two, this one's known everywhere in the country. This is English ivy. I brought this one specifically because it had a yellow leaf. So sometimes you'll get this winter damage to it, just as a lesson. So I can give you more than just, you just pinch these off. Then it just turns green. So you clean them up a little bit. So I grow this one in a container with a decorative English ball. I've got a double ball, and I've just trained it to take on that shape. So it's taking on the shape of that frame that I have. It's on the back patio. We've got this 2.5-story house, monstrosity. It's our family house, raised 4 kids in it. They're all gone. It's too big than we need. I don't want to downsize because I haven't seen anything that I like. We've been remodeling this one for 2 decades. I like my house. But that north side it's really shaded. And it's big, sweeping, like long patios. fire pits and hot tubs and grills. It's just made for entertainment. It's too big. And so I break it up by having some big containers, and then I'll put ivy, which right now looks fantastic. It's out there in the cold. It didn't look at this, didn't look at the snow, doesn't care, and still has that form to it. I just once a year I go through and I shape it. And then I've got another one with a pyramid looking, kind of just a pyramid shape. So I've got one in the front, one in the back. That's kind of what I do with them. I like them because they're evergreen. You can't kill these things. If I forget to water it, this plant will actually pull water out of the air. Just waters itself, kind of like an orchid. This one I brought, so English ivy. I would say best place for that is more in the shade. Pyracantha is going to be more in the sun. So pyracantha, 6 hours or more, it's considered full sun. The ivy, 6 hours or less. It will grow in full sun, but I just get some brown leaves. It's just harder to maintain it. You're watering it more. In the shade, you can't hardly, I mean, it'll take care of itself. This one's famous in Arizona. It's the only place in the country we call this the tombstone rose, because there's a 200-year-old Lady Banks rose in the heart of Tombstone, Arizona, that's got a trunk on it like this. They got a structure. You got to go see it. It's beautiful. And go watch the shootout and all the other stuff we do in Arizona. Everywhere else in the country, they call it Lady Banks rose. Its claim to fame is it's evergreen mostly, and it has no thorns. So it does get really big. So it'll naturally go up to 10 feet by 8 feet or even bigger. I mean, I've had one so big, I could park my pickup truck underneath it. Literally. It was an old one, but they can get that big. And they're easy to maintain on an arbor, a trellis, a pergola. You can do that with them too. They do have a fragrant white or kind of cream colored flower to it. They only come in 2 colors. They mainly only bloom once in spring, a pretty long bloom cycle, but once, whereas most roses tend to send waves or pulsate roses or flowers on them. This guy does it once, but you're really planting this for the evergreen, soft. You can brush up against it, not worried about it look like you've been in a cat fight because it grabbed your arm or your clothes. So it's kind of Lady Banks rose or tombstone rose in Arizona. Now we go to the perennial shrubby thing. Let's cover these. We got to cover the number one. This is number one seller by far of pretty much of plants. Put my kids through college with this plant. This is a red-tipped photinia. It does get white flowers, so it is a blooming evergreen. Quite honestly, I would never plant this in my own yard. It's too high maintenance. If there's 10 bugs in the area, this one will get 12. It's got you're gonna have to spray. It gets mildew, it gets leaf spot, it got problems. But it's fast growing. You get a lot of plant for the money. Just know that if you plant that, I'm going to make more money off of you because you're going to be coming, Ken, what's this bug? It's a bug. Here, use this. It's got mildew. Use this. Should be some maintenance to it. But it is a fast grower. And that new growth, that's pretty spectacular. So this is easily going to go 10 by 10 by 10. I mean, easily. Don't put it next to the house for the love of gardening. Don't do that. Don't put it right at the mailbox, or it will obliterate the mailbox. Put it out on its own against a fence line to soften a fence. Put it out in full sun. You'll have less maintenance. You have less mildew issues. I would say with this one especially, never water in the evening, only in the morning. You never want this thing to go through the evening wet, or you'll have leaf spots and some issues with it. So that's when we can help guide you in the right direction. We sell this one. This is called Dynamite red tip photinia because it's a little bit tighter pattern. So it's got a little bit smaller leaf, but more of them. And the new growth is an intense red. It's got more, it's a brighter red. So I get bored with plants, and I've sold thousands of the regular one. This is a better, more kind of preferred. It's also less prone to have issues than the big one. So, but photinias, I got to mention it because otherwise you all are going to ask me, yeah, but what about the one that turns red? I just got to get it out there. This guy and this guy would go together. These two are planted in similar areas. So this is heath. So it's an alpine perennial. So it mainly it has this fern color to it, like this ferny foliage to it. But in the spring, late winter and spring, it's one of the first things to bloom. It has this manzanita type flower to it covered. This is pretty versatile. It'll grow in the shade. It'll grow in the sun. I've had it in Skull Valley, right out there in the perennial garden, full sun. Javelina, elk, deer, everything lives down there. Never ate it, never bothered it. It got up with age, kind of just above knee high, kind of a mounding, beautiful mounding shape. I've grown it at Skull Valley, my house out there, in just a pot on the patio. It's quite handsome in a container because it keeps its shape to it. Looks really good. And it comes in pink and it comes in white. And that's the only difference. Yes. I have not had them eat it. I think you're safe. It's on the list. What I find is when we have droughts and stuff, the animals, they start to eat things they normally wouldn't eat because they're just so desperate. They'd rather eat poisonous things than die of starvation. But generally they'll leave it alone. Again, Skull Valley, we had jackrabbits, everything. They were fine. So, okay. Most folks don't know about this plant because it's not here in spring. This is a limited crop rotation. We only have it late winter and early spring. By May, when the main crowds come, these are all sold out. They're gone. All the peonies, generally, they're all gone. So that's an early spring thing. You buy them now. So if you're thinking about peonies or some of these early spring plants, you want to grab them now because they won't be here in a month. We purposely will sell out because they're just limited crop rotation. So and that's one of these. Most folks don't know what this is, but I bring it to friends going, great evergreen. And look, it blooms. It's got everything you want. This is Heath, H-E-A, Heath, T-H, Heath. Full sun or shade. It's pretty flexible. I find it blooms better in the sun. It blooms longer when it has a little protection from the direct sun. It has a longer bloom cycle. Shade, the flower, it grows great. The flowers aren't quite as strong. There aren't quite as many flowers, but it still keeps its shape quite nicely. Yeah. Heath is a good perennial. Again, perennial are those things that come back year after year after year. For my friends, I want you all to plant perennials. Annuals live for a season. They're glorious for a season and they die in the winter, pretty much. So if you're a gardener going to invest in your landscaping, plant something that comes back year after year. It costs you a few extra bucks up front, but you get years of enjoyment out of it down the road. Pine trees. Yes, we have a whole bunch of pines. I'll cover the spruce. We have ponderosas, Austrian pines. We've got all those things. But I brought this one. This is a Scotch pine, or is this a white pine? This is a blue shag eastern white pine. It's related to our ponderosas, our pinyon pines, but it just stays a tight little ball, short. It's just cute. It's made to be an accent off the patio as a centerpiece in that flower bed, and it gives you that anchored green to it. It could easily go on those steps, the beds on either side of the stairs going up to your front door. Raised beds does fantastic. It'll take our cold and it just looks like this year round. I like this one in that it's got a two-toned leaf to it. So it's got blue on one side and white on the other. So you get this interesting kind of texture to it. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, but you get this two-toned foliage to it. It doesn't really bloom. It just gets prettier ball-shaped every year. We've got the same thing in a spruce. We've got a ball or bird's nest spruce. Just grows in a ball. Have them in different sizes, but you can have those evergreens. And we're in conifer country. The conifers or things that have needles are going to do really, really well here. Animals generally leave it alone. Full sun, full sun, full sun. In the shade, it'll get kind of wispy, kind of thinner. It stays fuller in the sun. So pines do great. Now perennials, how are we doing? Right on track. I got 4 minutes. I got about 4 minutes of material. We'll take Q&A, okay? Let me do this before I do that because I forgot. I have 3, possibly 4 handouts for you. One, I've got the top 10 evergreens that bloom. I'll send that to you. So if you're a note taker and you missed one, it'll be in your inbox by Monday. I've got how to plant. This is actually the technique you use to plant. If I get a chance, I'll share that here. I have a feeling I'll run out of time. If you want those, I'm just going to send it to the class. You all already have the link. Look in the comment section or chat section, what you're streaming from. The link's already there. Just click them. You can download them. The rest of you, I'll email it directly to you. Put your email down there, and I'll look for it shortly. Okay. And then if you're part of our garden club already, it's not going to everyone. It's only going to you all. So I'm only going to send the folks who put their email on there. So, I don't want to pollute everyone's inbox. Oh, you did. Oh, dang it, Christine, you're so good. God, I get to talking and I forget to do stuff. All right, so good. Perennials, let's do that. So you're seeing two. So we covered those two. We've got these two starting to bloom already in my gardens. I'll cover these. These are three of my favorite. This is my most favorite. That was last year's favorite. This is my all-time favorite. This is candy tuft. You'll see this growing wild. There's a nice evergreen perennial mounding like this. It's growing in the rocks. It's in the craziest places. Tough as nails. It looks so delicate, but it's got a real deep root to it. The roots go through the crevices. They find water, and it's got a waxy leaf to it, but it's evergreen. It doesn't dive back to the ground and rest, have to come back. Mine is not quite flowering like this, but it will next week. As soon as it gets warm, it'll be in full bloom, and it will bloom all spring long. So candy tuft. Let's see, what's the Iberis is the botanical name. Iberis, candy tuft. Just call it candy tuft. We only have this really in spring, so you see it when it's in bloom. It's just spectacular. I've had this in containers. I've got it in the ground. It's really flexible. I find it looks really good in containers because it just keeps its evergreen shape, but it doesn't bloom in summer and fall. So I need to accessorize with zinnias or geraniums. I add some more flowers in there. This is my anchor of evergreen with spring splash flowers, but great plant. These are my two favorites. They're both related. These are euphorbias. Euphorbia is an evergreen perennial. Now, euphorbia is a gigantic plant variety. Some of the cactus down in Phoenix are euphorbias. So, but they don't grow up here because they freeze out. These go down to 10 degrees or lower. I think I've had this one down below minus at my house, and it lived. It was amazing. I was going, we'll test the limits here. It lived. So it did good. What are you doing over there? Euphorbia gets basically the exact same plant, blonde, brunette. It's the only difference. They grow the same height. They have the same flower. They grow up about 3 feet tall, vase-shaped, just perfectly vase-shaped. And then you see this one starting to bloom, has this unusual bright yellow flower. And this one you would think would have purple flowers, but it doesn't. It has bright yellow flowers. Same exact flower. Just the foliage is the only difference. So I grow this out by the mailbox where the javelina roam free. They don't bother this. So the reason that is that you'll see, I don't know if it'll do it for me. Let's see if it'll come out. Let's see if we can do this. You'll see it starting to drip white sap. That white sap is poisonous. So animals don't eat it. It's not deadly to your puppy dogs or your cats, but it will make their mouth turn numb and they'll stop eating it pretty quick. But deer and javelina for sure will not bother this because that's a defensive thing this plant is doing. It's tainting its sap so that animals won't eat it. So plants are pretty smart. And both of the plants do the exact same thing. So this looks a little anemic, but by the end of April, it's going to be this tall, full foliage, in full bloom. Spectacular. So an evergreen, just low maintenance. I did, what was it? Either 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we had a real heavy snow in like March. Like it snowed like 18 inches. And it got up on top of this and it just got them all to lay right down. And they didn't come back up. So I just cut it off, fertilized it within a month, right back at it. Last year I had this one I've got a tiki head. My gardens have some whimsy to them. I've got a tiki head container, like Easter Island head, this tall, and this is his hair coming out. And I had a umbrella full on it. Schmack, did the same thing. Fell right over, broke some stems. And, oh, man, dang it. Cut it right off, fertilize it, poof, came right back. So really, really robust perennial for here. Euphorbias are fantastic. This is called Merlot. This is Rainbow Ascot, but they're both the same plant. Pick the color you like. Then we'll leave you with herbs and we'll take some questions. A lot of folks don't think of herbs as a way for evergreens, but rosemary, this is actually starting to bloom locally, especially the laurel, Prescott Valley, Dewey, it's in bloom. In Prescott, the sunny sides, the south sides, east sides, it's in bloom. So rosemary does great. Here's a lesson for you. Not all rosemary grows at this elevation. Some of it is made for Phoenix. Again, rosemary is a big family of plants, and some are hardier. They have more antifreeze in them than others, especially the carpet or trailing varieties. There's only a couple that really do well here. And of course, you'll find those at Waters Garden Center. So just do your homework when you're doing that, because sometimes you're killing plants and it's not, I'm telling you, it's not you. You were sold the wrong thing. So it's as offensive to me. So when I go into the box, I just hit my head down and I don't want to help anyone. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they got their carts. This is Huntington carpet. This is a trailing one. So it gets about this tall, just perfect for raised beds, in containers, ground covers against you've got too much rock lawn. You want to soften up the edges. This is a great one. Loves the sun. Just very long lived. Easy. It's a pollinator. It's got everything you want. You can use it in the kitchen. It's got everything you want. Okay. And then we've got the big Tuscans. There's one called Barbecue. It's got a bit of longer, thicker needle to it. Very hardy, but you can take the branches and strip off the foliage and use them as skewers. That's Barbecue rosemary. So we'll have all of those. Okay. And then lavender, our first crop of lavenders came in. There's 3 basic kinds of lavenders. I'll give you a quick lesson on lavender. And as we get more of them, this is the very first crop. We'll have a lot more varieties. There's English, there's Spanish, and there's French. 3 types, all Mediterranean, but not all are equal. The English variety is the hardiest of all of them. It'll easily go down to, I think it's a zone 6, down to -5 degrees, some crazy cold that we'll never see. The reason it's not so popular is it's a big landscape variety. It gets great, it gets hip high, kind of wispy flowers to it, a lot of them, but they're not this pom-pom. This is the one that goes in the front of magazines. When they talk about rosemary and horticulture magazine, this is the one they take a picture of. This is a Spanish lavender. It stays shorter, gets kind of moundy like this, and it has this bigger flower to it. Looks like butterflies are on top of it. Not quite as hardy. So this will go down to about 10 degrees. It's still tough, but it's not as tough as in a commercial setting. I would use English lavender. In my own backyard, I'd use Spanish because I'm taking care of it more. I like the good looks. This one I grow in my backyard. It took on that snow. I've got some pansies. I've got a big square pot. This is in the middle of it. And I've got pansies, violas trailing over the edge. It's beautiful, even right now. Okay. And then the French lilac, that's a wimp. It does not winter over with us, but that's the one you make potpourri. It's the most fragrant. That's the one that just looks real pretty, but it's not nearly as tough as the Spanish or the English. So just do your homework when you do those. But they can be planted evergreen. This one, I would say, if you're going to kill it, it's in a soil that does not perk, or your hobby is not gardening, your hobby is watering. This is not going to like that. It likes a container because it drains. It likes out towards Granite Mountain where it's real granity, sandy soil. It's going to love that. If you're out in the valley areas, which is heavy, thick clay with caliche layers, probably a raised bed or container is going to be better for this than in the ground. So anyway, okay. And animals don't eat herbs. They don't eat thyme. They don't eat oregano. They don't eat herbs. They do eat basil. They've eaten my basil. Deer have gotten after my basil, but generally not these guys. Okay. All right. That's what I have for you. You got a low maintenance, shade, vines, a few shrubs, perennials, all evergreen. I'll leave you with this last one, then we'll take a couple questions for you. Just because it's spring. Oh, I missed this one. I wanted to show you this one. It is not evergreen, does not pertain to anything about the class. It's just a columbine. And columbines, this is the native one. So the light colored one is the native columbine. We also have all the non-native ones, the bright reds, the blues, the variegated. They're all real similar, but this one's a little hardier than the other ones. And it is a true perennial. It comes back year after year. So it's planted once. It generally rests underground and comes back fresh every year. So in town, they haven't started blooming yet. They're up about this tall, but they aren't in bloom. They're budding, but they're not blooming. Another couple weeks, they'll be in bloom. And then this one I totally forgot. This is for rock gardens. This is sedums. Chicks and hen are part of that. There's a lot of different varieties. Now, some of you are from Southern California. Some of you brought your collection of sedums with you. Most of those are not hardy up here. They don't have enough antifreeze. The cold will take them out, and they turn to black mush. But this one is very tough, very hardy. It goes down to 0 degrees easy, and it just creeps and crawls and flows. I like this one at the front edge of my containers because literally it'll send tendrils down. It'll touch the ground and keep growing. It's just beautiful. It just keeps running around. I'll tend to shape it. I'll just take my hedgers or pruners and shape it. So it gives it this real formal look, yet it's informal looking. It does get flowers to it, little bright fluorescent flowers, but really you're planting it for this, that green evergreen foliage to it. So again, full sun, hot, full sun. It's going to be happy with that. All right. How are we doing? Questions? What do we got? Otherwise, I'll let you go and we'll just let you start shopping. Oh, yeah. It does. Yeah. Where did that go? Yeah. I didn't get to everything. So this is a Lenten rose. Thank you. This is a shade-loving perennial. Comes back year after year, but it looks like this year-round. That's one of the first things to bloom. It does not have any fragrance. Ooh, it has a bathroom. Nasty smell. So it's kind of like, that's probably why the animals don't eat this either. So you can put it right out there where javelina are roaming around. They won't bother this. So Lenten rose or hellebore is how they get written up as. Hellebore is the botanical name to it. It'll get up. This is pretty tall. It's get up about this tall, but it mounds more. They tend to have some runners coming up. But great shade lover. It's going to like a nice loose, like a flower garden soil. That's where it's going to like. Okay, so get a bag of mulch, put it in there, go. If you're in a container, the water's potting soil. That's our growers mix. That's what we take cuttings, seedlings from. We just bag smaller sizes for you all to use. But you put that in more of that potting soil, it'll just thrive for years and years. Good. Yeah, very good. Yeah. It is very much heavily resistant. Personal experience. Yeah, I'd say all animals. I don't know why. You'd think they'd go after, but I think it's the foliage or it's tough, or I think probably the needles are too small and they get stuck in their throat or something. They kind of go, I need some water. Oh my God, or some milk, something. So it seems to be pretty robust. We always use the word resistive because you'll get those deer. The deer are basically like cattle. They got two stomachs. They'll eat things just grazing through, and they forgot they didn't like that, but they'll snag some as they're walking through to your neighbor's yard. Or probably some of you have your neighbors are feeding a herd of 10 deer sitting there, and they're just everywhere. So, but generally they'll leave those alone if given a choice. Yeah. Before I let you go, I'll hang out as long as you want. Okay, I'll just hang out, answer questions. Come look at the plants. That's fine. Come visit us. We'd love to see you at the garden center. We know half of you come in. We see you in the afternoons when you're afternoon people. We get it. So the rest of you, thanks for being here this morning. Before you go, I'll let you clap because it just makes me feel good. So good. Hopefully you learned a couple things today. And let me turn this off for these folks. I'll just put this down, boom. And we are